Life always brings us little miracles, and today's movie recap, She Depp Review, is based on an incredible true story. It's about a man diagnosed with a rare illness that eventually led to total paralysis. But through sheer determination, he became a well-known Olympic athlete. This man picks up a piece of sushi, but accidentally drops it into a glass of wine. His family laughs, like you can't even grab a single piece of sushi, but he feels something isn't quite right. Because earlier that morning, he couldn't even tie his own shoelaces. His wife comforts him, saying he's probably just exhausted from work, and a good night's sleep will fix it. But the next morning, he doesn't just lose strength in his movements, even speaking becomes extremely difficult. Realizing it's serious, Raymond goes to the hospital for a full checkup. While waiting for the results, he keeps insisting to the doctor that it's probably nothing major. After all, he's barely ever been sick in his life. Can you do this simple movement? Raymond slowly lifts his right hand, only to realize that even something this simple is now impossible for him. And in that instant, a bad feeling hits him. To confirm the diagnosis, the doctor runs another test. Soon the results come back. Raymond has multiple sclerosis. It's an autoimmune inflammatory disease that affects the central nervous system. It disrupts the brain and spinal cord, attacking the protective myelin around nerves, which causes the nerve signals to short-circuit. At first, patients may only feel mild movement issues, but over time they can gradually lose sensation, then even lose their sight, leading to partial paralysis, worst case, total paralysis. And what's worse, there's no truly effective cure. Raymond thinks the doctor must be wrong and storms out in anger. But when his wife sees him come home reeking of alcohol, she knows he's already accepted the diagnosis deep down. At this point, Raymond turns incredibly negative. He not only yells at his wife, but even curses at his father-in-law, the man he can't stand. But even so, nobody blames him. The next day, Raymond attends an important meeting, and when it's his turn to speak, his MS flares up again. He stands there like a statue, in front of everyone, but he can't get a single word out. After being hospitalized, Raymond slowly starts accepting reality. He deletes all his work schedules and reminders, then actively joins rehab to recover. But when he watches other patients training, he feels like he's seeing his own future. A pessimistic patient tells him, just get used to it. Because no matter how hard we try, in the end, even walking 100 meters is just a distant dream. That slowly changes his mindset. His hope gets crushed. After leaving the hospital, Raymond locks himself in his room. A month goes by, and he doesn't care about anything at all. Until the day his wife gives birth, he finally returns to reality. Holding his newborn son in his arms, Raymond seems to find a reason to keep living. That day, he watches a video of a 100-meter race, and suddenly he feels like 100 meters isn't that far. But while crossing the street, his symptoms flare up again. Luckily, his wife rushes over in time. What happened? I don't know. I can't walk. To move safely again, Raymond returns to the track. Day after day, he trains, and his outlook on life slowly begins to change. One day, Raymond finishes his workout and notices a poster. It's advertising a triathlon. It includes a 3.8-kilometer swim, a 180-kilometer bike ride, and finally a 42-kilometer marathon. Even for a healthy person, this race is brutally hard. Back home, Raymond stares at himself in the mirror, and suddenly he makes a bold decision. When his wife hears he wants to enter the triathlon, she can't believe it. Even normal people struggle to finish it, let alone him. A patient with multiple sclerosis, but Raymond says, the best memories come from the craziest ideas. He doesn't want to reach the end of his life, full of regret, wishing he'd done more. Seeing Raymond's determination, his wife finally agrees, but on one condition: her dad will personally train him. No one would have guessed his first training would be digging up weeds by hand. He even has to hoe the ground again and again until it's fully loosened. So Raymond starts arguing with his father-in-law again. This isn't training. You just want free labor on your farm. But even so, Raymond completes every exercise he's given. The next day, his father-in-law brings several sacks to the farm and tells Raymond to blindfold himself and guess what's inside. Sticky rice, flour, coffee? No, not sticky rice. Obviously, he gets everything wrong, and the next training makes him even more confused. He has to walk in a straight line on sand and play those silly two-person, three-legged races kids usually do. Raymond can't understand at all what any of this is supposed to mean, until one day, he accidentally finds an old box of his father-in-law's and realizes that when he was young, his father-in-law was once a top competitor in freestyle cycling races. That's when Raymond finally gets it. That night, the two of them talk for a long time. Raymond suddenly realizes the father-in-law he always hated isn't as cold as he thought. They laugh and joke together, and little by little, Raymond lets go of his prejudice. But then Raymond suddenly can't move again. Are you having another flare-up? Don't worry. I'll call an ambulance. Dad, only one finger is acting up. Look, Dad, look! You little punk! You stubborn brat. From that day on, Raymond trusts his father-in-law completely, and he slowly realizes digging the soil was to train his hands, guessing objects was to sharpen his sense of touch, and training on sand was to improve his balance. Everything his father-in-law asked him to do had its own purpose. Every single bit of it mattered. Raymond trains harder and harder day after day, and race day gets closer and closer. One day, his father-in-law shows up with a bag, excited to find Raymond. But Raymond is sitting motionless on the beach. His MS has flared up again. His father-in-law drags him back to shore because his whole body refuses to cooperate. This time it's even worse than before. The entire right side of his body is numb and paralyzed. All those months of effort feel wasted. He locks himself in his room again. Even so, his father-in-law doesn't give up on Raymond. He tells his son-in-law, "If you can't race this year, then we'll do it next year. You'll be able to run again. And we'll step onto that 100-meter track together. We'll rebuild your confidence." Raymond chooses to face the hardship head-on. He fights to regain feeling in his body, and within just a few months, he breaks the 100-meter curse again. He runs on sand and trains with long cycling rides. In the blink of an eye, a year passes. Raymond finally returns to his old form. On race day, his father-in-law tells him, "You can be so hot you feel like exploding, or so cold you feel like dying, but the one thing you can't do is give up hope." Only minutes remain before the race begins. Competitors have 17 hours to finish every stage. A 3.8-kilometer swim, a 1 to 80-kilometer bike ride, and a 42-kilometer run. For Raymond, each stage is a massive challenge. The countdown begins. Hundreds of athletes rush toward the open water, but unlike the others, Raymond not only has to manage his energy carefully, he also has to worry about whether his illness will flare up again. His pace is very slow. After more than an hour and a half, he finally swims back to the start point. But even so, he's already outperformed plenty of healthy people. Next comes the 180-kilometer bike ride. Raymond's stamina starts to fade, but his eyes stay unbelievably determined. Somehow he pushes through to the finish. Now more than half the time is gone. All that's left is the final 42-kilometer marathon. Every second feels like torture. Raymond is completely exhausted. But when he sees other competitors quitting, he remembers what his father-in-law told him, and that only makes him more determined to finish. Only 3 hours remain. The sky grows darker and darker. As more and more people finish, Raymond's family gets more and more anxious. With less than 9 minutes left, the organizers start packing up. His father-in-law walks over to argue with them, but they insist there are no athletes left. His wife stares at this countdown clock, and now only 4 minutes remain. Maybe Raymond has given up, but right at that moment, she spots a figure at the far end of the track. No way, it's Raymond! He's less than 100 meters from the finish line. His wife runs ahead to support him, helping him push forward. With his family cheering him on, he finally finishes the race. This is a true story that actually happened. A man with multiple sclerosis managed to complete one major race after another. 1 triathlon, 4 marathons, 8 Olympic distance triathlons, and 16 marathon races. And over those 3 years, Raymond never once relapsed. In Europe alone, more than 50,000 people live with multiple sclerosis. They're often misunderstood and discriminated against. Some even end up living alone, battling depression for the rest of their lives. When facing illness, the scariest thing isn't failing to break the 100-meter curse, it's choosing to give up. It's losing the courage to step beyond those 100 meters, because once you choose to quit, you've already decided your own defeat. Only the ones who hold on until the end have a chance to win the race against fate. And that's where today's story ends. I actually uploaded this recap on my channel before, but for some reasons, I had to delete it. I truly think this film is meaningful, human, and genuinely inspiring, so I wanted to upload it again. If it's not to someone's taste, I hope you can understand. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and keep supporting me.